He seems like a confused little kid to me, to be honest.
Some bloggers make a lot of money. Okay, what they bring on the table? They bring so many views. They bring so much on the table.
And you know, if it, as they say, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. I know Dana and the UFC are not really into it, but you know,
he's just calling everybody out. That way, he gets the clout for it. He gets the recognition. He gets everybody saying, "Wow, he's looking for tough challenges." But then he doesn't actually accept.
Canelo, scared. Nate or Nick Diaz, whichever one wants it. Kamaru, Disney Channel, Usman, Timmy Fury, Conor McGregor.
You know, I see him calling out Canelo and stuff. That's all for clout, you know.
Jake Paul is really public enemy number 2 to the MMA community. Because number 1 will always be Tyron Woodley rapping.
I'm so in love with you.
Anyways, Jake Paul got famous along with his brother Logan Paul on the now debunked app called Vine. The premise of this app is to post short videos, limiting the length to 6 seconds. I'd say that's plenty of time, to be honest. His videos got popular and he successfully transitioned onto YouTube, which many Vine creators failed to do so. Not only did he get onto YouTube successfully, but he also got a role in a Disney show called Bizarre Walk. He would continue to grow, but the more he did, the more controversy he got into. He would be every neighbor's nightmare for the sake of content, as he would do countless stunts and even create a fire in his backyard. This wasn't an image Disney wanted to be associated with, so they fired him. He was seen as a bad guy and he leaned into this juicy character. He got into more controversy, which led him to getting more hated, yet his views were still going up. He then took up influencer boxing. His first opponent would be fellow YouTuber Deji, who he defeated, and he would then become professional and have more fights, being another YouTuber and a Singib. Although he won these fights, viewers were being critical, saying he's only fighting YouTubers and he's not going up against a real challenge. His image didn't help. They wanted him knocked out. His next fight would then be against a professional athlete, Nate Robinson. He would also beat him. However, he was a retired basketball player and was not involved in combat sports. Then came the hero we needed, a man that did come from combat sports, a man who was in the Olympic freestyle wrestling team, a man who was an MMA champion, Ben Askren. Around this time, everyone was saying that Jake Paul finally has a real challenge.
Can he get it done?
Listen, we are rooting for Ben Askren. I'm rooting for Ben Askren more than just the fact that we're Olympic teammates and he's my friend. I'm rooting for Ben Askren because Ben Askren's going out there and representing mixed martial arts against an internet celebrity.
He would go on to beat Askren too by way of knockout in the first round. Askren's performance was poor and he just got off losing his last 2 UFC fights, one of which he got sent to the nether realm in 5 seconds by Jorge Masvidal, and his infamous knockout knee.
Alright, so lofty expectations for this matchup is he's out!
Askren was majorly a wrestler, and he was never known for striking. His 2 losses were also a point viewers would bring up to take away value from Jake's win, saying that he was a washed-up fighter with no striking ability. The MMA community were embarrassed by Askren and felt let down as he got beat by a quote-unquote Disney kid. Then the fight would be announced. Jake Paul's next opponent was former UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley. Woodley had actual striking in his arsenal and knockout wins across his MMA career. People could not believe this was the next fight, as it seemed too risky for Jake Paul to go up against an actual striker. A man who has shown he has knockout power, and yet he did. This was seen as another proving ground for Jake. Many would say, if he wins this fight, there's no way anyone can discredit Jake Paul being a real fighter. And then, he won. Not only once, as the first fight was won by split decision, a rematch took place and Jake Paul won by knockout. On paper, this was crazy. Jake Paul beating Tyron Woodley, UFC's former welterweight champion, who beat Till, Maia, Thompson, Lawler and Gastelum. This time Jake Paul was discredited for fighting a washed-up Tyron Woodley, who was on his way out of the UFC after a 4-fight losing streak and was gun-shy, not being as generous with his strikes as before. This wasn't a good look for MMA. But when MMA fighters transition into boxing, they lose a lot of their specialty. You know, the ability to wrestle, grapple and throw kicks. Even for elite boxers in MMA, The dangers of the other tools of fighting play a huge impact. He then beat a legend of the MMA world, Anderson Silva, who was 47 years old at the time. I don't think I need to tell you the critique of that win at this point. But Jake was winning. He was beating MMA fighters, but his legitimacy was always in question, and he was always frowned upon for seemingly cherry-picking opponents. Constantly fighters would bring up their name to fight Jake Paul and represent the MMA community. There's been interesting names that have come up, and if not for representing the MMA community, it's a good payday for fighters who have left the UFC. Fan favourite Nate Diaz was next scheduled to fight Jake Paul. He didn't get knocked out, but he clearly lost. And Nate Diaz is the only fighter I know to constantly lose but be appreciated for his fight. For lasting or even getting a few good moments in, like the Leon Edwards fight, where he clearly lost in every way, but got a punch that wobbled Edwards. And that seemed to be the only point of conversation during that time. But yeah, Jake Paul kept beating all of those who came from MMA. So much so that fans were forced to give him props whether they wanted to or not. Some still hold on, saying it doesn't matter because they are not boxers. But the thing is, all fighters agreed to fight in a boxing match. And a lot of the MMA community is salty that this boy they don't want to give any credit to has beaten challenger after challenger. And to be honest, he ended up fighting Tommy Fury, who's been a boxer since before he even came out of the womb. But Jake ended up losing to him. Every fighter he fought before had some sort of baggage. But it stings to know a little, to know that our legend, Anderson Silva, the people's champ, Nate Diaz, and the former welterweight Terminator, Tyron Woodley, could not do the job. We didn't expect the most from Mr. Askren, to be honest. Not only did Jake Paul beat all of them, but along the way, he made a lot of enemies within MMA.
Just Jake Paul keeps mentioning your name. He says he's going to knock you out if he runs across you in Vegas. So are you tuning in and cheering for Tyron tomorrow?
It actually makes sense. I'm 52 years old. I'm in the age bracket of guys he fights. So, yeah, I could see him wanting to fight me.
I was trying to work with him, and then he wanted to be an asshole to me. So, that. Anytime, I'll fight Jake Paul. Anytime.
You can't afford me to come over. So let me tell you a little secret about me you didn't know. I fight for money or to fight the best in the world. You need it. You understand? I know it hurts, but you need the best in the world or make me money. I'll tell you what, come on over to UFC, sign a one fight deal. Let Dana give you whatever the fuck he's gotta pay you. I'll break your jaw in front of the whole world, man. I promise you that. If you really want it, come get it. Man to man shit. None of that boxing shit where I can't slam you on your spinal cord and like, you know, leave you in a wheelchair for life. No, come on over so we can do everything. If you want it, it's here. If not, shit.